G'day, I'm Graham Ross from the Garden Clinic. I get a lot of questions about watering pots. Now today, gardening is a combination of ancient skills that have been handed down and modern technology, especially science, that has helped gardeners in the 21st century. Now I love pots. I very likely have too many of them. I love Japanese maples. There's quite a few bonsais mixed in here. And look at the new growth that's happening on these maples. They all need attention pretty much every day during summer, especially when it gets really, really hot. Let me give you some tips on how to look after them. Watering pots can be pretty tricky, but you do need to, like bonsai growers, keep an eye on them, especially in the heat of summer, every day. Take these beautiful Japanese maples that I've put into quite large pots, but they came out of 12-inch, what the old 12-inch size pot. So there's plenty of space for them to grow into. But when you water, quite often you're standing there just watering away and you don't realise that a lot of the water is just trickling around the outside of the pot, goes down to the drainage hole, pops out the bottom, and you think, oh, well, that one's done, and then move on to the next one. You don't actually realise that much of that water is not getting to the plant root system at all. You've got to aerate the soil and really get that moisture deep down. And there are lots of ways of doing it. By the way, these have been covered with an organic mulch. That's like a blanket. It's an organic blanket. It's not newspaper. It's actually an organic mulch that allows the water to penetrate through. So when I want to water, I don't need to remove it. But if you've got something more significant like paper or even pine bark, you need to be wary and open it right up so that you can get down to the soil. Now, as you can see, that soil is quite damp, so the plant is really happy. But there's another little simple, basic trick that I learnt as a kid, and it's in my back pocket. A chopstick. How simple is that? And this is all you need to do, is just to go round the plant, round the root ball. If you use a fork, or worse still, a little hand spade, there's a pretty good chance you'll damage roots. So just go round all over the root ball, and that way you know that the water is going to penetrate down, deep down into the root system. But there's a couple of modern science tricks. Even these little fellows here. Now these two here like it really dry, and that's why they're in this sort of open desert sort of pot. I don't need to water them anywhere near as much, but they will start to flag and sort of bend down. You think, well, they do need a bit of water. So even in a desert, you'll have those rainstorms going through and the plants absorb all that water and hold on to it for months and months. But science has come up in the modern 21st century with lots of little tips to make your water wetter. Huh? Yeah, you can make water wetter, believe it or not. Now you can use a liquid. The liquids are okay, but I do find once you put them into a watering can, the second time it all froths up. So in the end you lose the benefit. It's a massive froth. Now there's a granular form of wetting agent which I prefer because it doesn't cause that frothing. And all you need to do, as you can see, it's just little white crystals, you just sprinkle it around the top of the pot. It'll last for 6 to 12 months. So what happens is that the soil, especially at the top, becomes hydrophobic. In other words, it's a phobia, it hates water and it stops water penetrating. When you use the crystals on the top there, or the granules, it'll actually enable the water to go straight down into the root system. So combined with the old chopstick and the granular wetting agent, you really will water your plants correctly every time you give them a drink.